Hi, this is Brandon from Watches on You. Today we're back at Continental Diamond in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, taking a look at the brand new Breitling Navitimer. More specifically, this is the 41mm diameter version, and this is a watch I've been really looking forward to reviewing. It's probably my favorite release from any brand this year that I can think of. And I really like the watch because it both harkens back to vintage Breitlings as well as it still incorporates an element that makes it look like a brand new watch. What I mean by that is when watch brands try to evoke some of the elements of vintage watches, they often add things like faux aged lume, which if you've been following the channel, you're pretty familiar with my sort of disdain towards that, because if you're going to create a watch that really honors a piece that you already made, I think it's best to make it look like it just came off the assembly line, and this watch definitely fulfills that. And also it adds other things that make it look more modern. For example, it has an exhibition case back, which of course the more vintage Navitimers didn't have. And the movement is really beautifully finished, as you'll see, so it's something that I'm okay with. Again, I'm pretty strict on whether or not I would prefer an exhibition case back or not, but in this case I'm okay with it. And kind of to start off this review, I'll get into the dial right away because in my opinion, that's the most notable aspect of this piece, kind of in conjunction with the crystal, because the crystal really has this bubble effect that you can see right now, and it gives a really nice optical effect on the dial. And this was another feature that if you've seen older Navitimers in person, you'll definitely recognize this. Another aspect of this watch that kind of harkens back to the older Navitimers is, of course, the applied AOPA style logo. That's, of course, the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association logo, which Breitling has had a lot of association with over the years. And it looks really nice. Again, adds a whole kind of vintage element to it, and it's applied, so that gives it a little bit more kind of quality than like a printed logo. So looking at other aspects of the dials, you can see you have all these different layers that really give it a nice three-dimensional effect. It's still very legible. I know some Navitimer models are a little bit busy on the dial, but this one I think is the right kind of mix of being busy, which of course it is. It's a pilot's watch, it's a tool's watch, you have a slide rule, it's something that, again, is meant to be a tool for pilots, but it has an element of simplicity, I would almost say, to it that I think some other Breitling Navitimer models didn't have. That's especially interesting given that this is the smaller size, the 41mm version, which would be the one that I would get. I'm not really too keen on larger watches, but of course pilots may prefer a larger watch because it makes it more legible. I, again, just prefer a smaller size. I'm not a pilot. I just think the proportions look the best on this one. So getting into the side, it's got a 13.6mm thickness, which is slightly thinner than the larger version, the 46mm. There's also a 43mm version, but it's not much thinner than the largest version, which is 13.9mm in thickness. It's still not really thick by any standards. I'm quite pleased with that. I'll try it on the wrist so you can get a kind of better perspective about that in a second, but first I want to talk about the movement a little bit. It's a Breitling caliber B01 movement, which again, if you've been following the channel, you can see it in a lot of their models. 70-hour power reserve, which is fantastic. I think 48 is really all you need, but it's good to have 70 when you can. And you can see the finishing looks really, really nice. You have a nice Cote de Genève on the watch, and it glistens very, very nice. I'm glad that they included an exhibition case back because I think it really does show off their finishing skill. And it's something I'm kind of happy that they had. In addition, on the case, you have both brushed and polished surfaces. It's a really high quality watch. One thing I kind of want to address with this is in seeing other kind of watch commentators, and even on our channel, we're probably a little guilty of this. We often compare the Navitimer to the Moonwatch. And of course, it's a lot more expensive than the Moonwatch, with this one costing $9,000 retail. But you are really getting a much higher quality piece for that. I would say that the price is justified, which of course we're huge fans of the Moonwatch. I don't want to denigrate that all, but I don't really think that it's fair to compare these two pieces like a lot of people do. I really do think that this is in a different league than the Moonwatch, and it's something that I think online photos don't really do justice. It's something you need to see in person. If you have a local Breitling retailer or you're in Minnesota, I would come to Continental Diamond. Obviously, they lent us this piece for the review, and I really would encourage you to take a look at this piece. So thank you for watching this video. Before I forget, I'll do a wrist shot quick, just so you can see the size. Again, not an issue at all with a 41 millimeter. Some Breitlings, again, are a little bit too big in my opinion for kind of everyday wear. It's understandable for a pilot's watch, but as you can see, it's perfectly thin. It would fit under a dress shirt cuff very easily. I think it looks great on the wrist. I really love the blue dial color. There's tons of different dial color options and even metal options that you can choose from. Go on the website to look at that, or come to Continental Diamond or another retailer to check those out. But this is kind of the configuration that I would buy. There's also a really cool green version. I don't know if it's available in this size. It's certainly available on 46. I'll film another video with that. That's really exquisite. This has kind of a matte, kind of brushed finish on the blue. The green dial is a glossy version, which looks a little bit different than the Breitling for Bentley version on the Premier. It's something that's quite interesting, so stay tuned for that video. Thanks for watching this one. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.